Welcome to Beyond Borders by Soundlines Global. And today, we have a very special guest joining us.
I would like to thank you, Renato, and the entire Soundlines group for having me here.
Soundlines has been associated with you for over 12 years now.
So there's a correction there.
Having partnered with Soundlines Group,
Of course, they helped me a lot when I was struggling with getting 20 people on board. So Soundlines used to organize huge campaigns for us.
how has it been with us?
Conflict coming in from Soundlines saying that, you know what, you're being very picky. Soundlines was biased.
We're going to take a very short trivia break.
Do I get to ask you these questions as well so that the coffee shots go ahead?
What do you think?
Ping pong table.
No, that's the wrong answer.
Yeah, I know.
13
Who gets 13 months?
13 months of pay.
I would love to go there.
What's the hint for this?
Correct.
Correct.
And actually, you need to take the shot. Welcome to Beyond Borders by Soundlines Global, where we spotlight the leaders building the global workforce of tomorrow. I'm your host, Mansa, the Group Marketing Director at Soundlines Global, and along with me is Mr. Inato Awami, General Manager, Abu Dhabi. And today, we have a very special guest joining us. We're joined today by Mr. Altaf Karjikar of Isa Saleh Algurs Group, one of UAE's most established business enterprises. Let's dive into his journey, ESOG's evolving workforce, and how Soundlines has supported their recruitment goals. Welcome to our show, Mr.
Thank you
Altaf.
so much, Manasa.
Thank you so much for coming and taking your time to be with us.
I would like to thank you, Renato, and the
Thank
entire
you.
Soundlines group for having me here.
Thank you. So before we dive in, Mr. Altaf, I'd like to have 13 years is like a huge time to be in the same organization with ESOG. How has this journey been for you through these years?
Well, you're right. When you say 13 years is a long time. So I used to wonder how do people spend more than 3 to 4 years in a company.
Sure.
So that's how I even started my journey as a youngster with just maximum 18 months, 2 years in jumping around organizations, hopping from one company to another. And then I joined Algurs in 2012, February. So when I joined here, my intention was to just stay here for maybe another 3 years, show some stability on my CV, and then hop on again to another company for a better job, a better salary. I mean, that's what expats come here for.
Of course.
But when I joined this company, at that time it was 3,000 employees, and we were only in UAE and Oman.
Okay.
The respect which I got here, firstly, the development opportunities which I received here.
Right.
The company sponsored me for further education, kept me so engaged that the 3 years passed by, and then I said, okay, let me complete another 1 year. And then another 1 year, and then another 1 year. Growth kept coming in, development kept coming in, opportunities were there. Company grew from UAE and Oman to Saudi and India. Now we are in Saudi, Oman, India as well. So that kept me engrossed and engaged. So that's how the 13 years when they flew by, I didn't realize that.
Wow.
True.
Amazing.
When you look at it, it is quite interesting journey. Okay, so,
ESOG, which was founded in the year 1960.
over the years, it has diversified into sectors including retail, into building materials. We have industrial, we have real estate, and many other services. So, how does this diversification, influence the group's organizational culture?
So talking about culture, it's quite unique over here. So we are 28 companies at the moment, spread across 4 different regions. We have a workforce of around 4,000 employees approximately, and we have 4 generations of workforce with us. Additionally, we have 50 different nationalities working within Algurs Group.
Sure.
Now with this comes with its unique blend of culture as well as its complexities. So when we talk about the culture and complexities, we have at the center our values. So we have 3 values: diversity, integrity, and empowerment. And these are not just words for us which are just framed on the wall and kept. No. What we do is we train the employees on this. We educate the employees on these values, and they are embedded in our daily practices, the policies that Algurs has, right from the recruitment, onboarding, till the continuous development of the employees. And it's not only the junior workforce, even the leadership has to go through all this.
Okay.
They are regularly trained, they are regularly developed, and they know what the values of Algurs are. We make them live these values. And that's what defines our culture. And that truly enables, when you talk to the people, you know that the culture that they're coming in from, the different kind of, first of all, they're coming into a different country with their own culture.
Yes.
Coming into a different company, we try to integrate those values that they have with us.
Interesting.
Oh, that's very interesting. Now, when you look at the sourcing of these manpower, so you source them from different countries for sure. Soundlines has been associated with you for over 12 years now. How has this collaboration been?
So there's a correction there. It's 13 plus years, in fact. So
13 plus.
Soundlines was the first company which I onboarded when I joined Algurs. At that time, we were heavy into recruitment. So like I said, we were 3,000 employees at that time. Today, we stand at 4,000 employees.
Sure.
Soundlines, of course, a big contribution of that goes to Soundlines as well, which has helped us in onboarding these people. So when I joined Algurs, I was sourcing for some companies, and then my colleague was one who referred Soundlines, and they said, okay, fine, they're good.
Yeah.
So from that time, when I met Inato and I met Raj, and of course, they helped me a lot when I was struggling with getting 20 people on board. So Soundlines used to organize huge campaigns for us. Even though requirement was small, they never treated those requirements as small, because I had a strategy. I used to divide the requirement between multiple agencies.
Yeah.
I was still to build my trust.
Right.
And today that trust level is so high that if I give a requirement to Soundlines, of course, I don't need to give it to anybody else.
Wow.
Thank you very much for that. And we always appreciate the business over the years.
I must also appreciate the offices that you have in different locations. Of course, in India, you have Amjad, who's there, and he is, of course, a gem of a person as well.
Yes.
I don't recollect the name of the people from the Nepal office, but they have rescued me as well. A couple
Mr.
of times.
Sanjay.
Sanjay is there.
Sanjay, of
Santosh
course,
is
yes.
there.
Sanjay.
Yes. That's nice.
Interesting. Okay, so, well, having partnered with Soundlines Group over the years with the talent acquisition strategies, or particularly in the maintenance and facilities management, how has it been with us,
The requirements of ESOG.
So I would like to add the other divisions as well here. So we're talking about the facilities maintenance, as well as Algurs has a huge portfolio in the manufacturing division. Now, in the beginning, like I said, I was struggling with where should I get these people from. For me, I was coming from a different kind of a recruitment background with different blue collar workers. So when I joined here, it was quite specialized. Now, catering to Algurs' requirements, it's not easy. Initially, I used to come from a background where there was bulk hiring. Here it was more specific, more niche. When you're talking about the manufacturing division, we had carpenters who were working for brands like Interiors.
Yes.
Okay,
I
and
remember
which is
that.
a very exquisite brand. It's a very prestigious brand. I mean, you find that furniture in high-end villas.
Right.
So when we are taking carpenters for those kind of requirements, we have to be very particular about the kind of people that we source.
Sure.
Algurs has the facilities management division working for government offices. When you're taking technicians for those kind of offices, they have to be very skilled. So Soundlines, what they have done is, of course, credit goes to your team that they helped us to segregate and divide the different regions, and they advised us which kind of skill we get from which region.
Yes.
And that helped us in not only cutting down our recruitment time, but also the bad hires which were there. We eliminated that. Our, my probation confirmation rate and my retention rate is quite high. So my probation confirmation stands above 97% for the blue collar workers.
Okay.
A huge credit for that is also to the partners that we have, like Soundlines, wherein you bear with us, because our requirements, it's not like the other companies that I have worked for previously companies wherein you just fill in hands and legs. Algurs is not like that.
Yeah.
We interview each person, we select each person, and we've never had a conflict coming in from Soundlines saying that, you're being very picky. So they always helped us, and thanks to you, Vinatu.
Well, it is our job, and obviously we're always happy to be working with
ESOG.
all these years, and it's all about giving the right set of people for the job. So we also always had patience in us, and it's all thanks to you as well. With the business over the years and the trust we've built. So that's all I can say. It's a pleasure.
Which all countries are you all?
So at the
hiring
moment,
from?
we are hiring from India a lot. Of
Okay.
course, that's one of the biggest countries that we have in Asia. Then next, we are hiring even from Nepal.
Okay.
And Soundlines has helped us to go to Africa as well.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we are even hiring from the African countries because some of the countries have restrictions in UAE.
Yeah.
Because of those restrictions, India, Nepal, some countries in Africa, and a few requirements from East Asia, Philippines is what we are recruiting.
Okay, that's nice. So I think when you look at talent, predominantly, I think requirement for merchandisers and these kind of categories is more from Philippines and east of India as well, isn't it?
That's, yes. I mean, of course, that's a bias which many people in the industry have, in the recruitment industry as well. They have this. They are good, of course.
Yes. Very
That reason
meticulous.
is that's created because they are good in those
Yes.
kind of jobs. But
In those skills, yes.
we also try to, what we do in Algurs is we try to hire on the competency and skill basis.
All right.
Okay, and if the person has a potential, we bring them on board and then we train them on those skills. So we are not limited to the East, to Philippines only. Okay, we, of course, even if we get those requirements from other countries, we are open to it.
Okay. That's good. That's nice. That's some good insights for the first leg of our podcast.
Yes.
We're going to take a very short trivia break. The quiz round works like this. Whichever answer you get wrong, you would need to have an espresso shot.
Oh,
Yes. So that's the catch.
That's the catch. Yes. All right. So for the first question, what quirky job title has Google used for its HR leader? The options are Chief People Officer, Culture Commander, Head of Googliness.
I'm going to go with head of googliness for this one.
That's a good one.
That is a good answer, but unfortunately, that's not the right answer.
Yes.
So first, a shot for you.
Yes, please.
So the answer of this is Chief People Officer.
Yeah. Quite quirky.
I should have guessed it, yeah.
All right. For the second one, what common workplace item was first introduced as an employee perk in the year 1920s? Options are coffee machine, break room, ping pong table.
Do I get to ask you these questions as well so that the coffee shots go ahead?
What do you think?
Okay. I would say ping pong table.
Okay, you're almost there. Almost there.
No, that's the wrong answer.
Yeah, I know. So you're almost there. That means you didn't get.
Yeah, you
the
didn't get
right
it.
answer.
It is something to do
machine.
with espresso.
Yes.
So coffee
machine.
machine.
You almost had it. So thank you for the second one.
Yes, thank you for the second one too. Now this is absolutely easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
This will, I'm sure, save you the shot. In which country is it a legal requirement to give employees a 13-month pay? So the options are Brazil, Germany, or Australia.
Brazil, Germany, or
Australia.
If I get it right, do you take the coffee shot?
Why not?
Okay, we will.
Germany?
No.
Give me the hint.
You missed it. I was trying to wink at you, but you missed the
either
wink.
starts with A or B.
Yeah.
So we can give you.
Australia.
It is Brazil.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
Brazil.
It's a new thing, actually, come to think of it.
Yeah, isn't
even,
it?
even I wasn't aware. to be
13
honest.
month.
I'm with you on this one.
13
who gets 13 months?
13 months of pay.
I would love to go there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it still gets more interesting because the next question is, which country has the shortest average work week in the world as of 2024?
Okay.
Netherlands, Japan, or UAE?
Netherlands.
Correct.
Correct.
Because
And after
very
you need to take the shot now.
I don't mind doing that for you. I'll take one for the team.
Yeah.
So it was either Sweden or Netherlands. I was confused in that. So yeah, you're good
Yeah,
in
I
being
had a
Sweden in
feeling
that.
that you would get this.
So about 29 hours per week, apparently.
They are contesting that as well.
Yeah.
They're protesting against that.
Against
they want to make it shorter.
There.
Now, for the fifth question, in which country is it common for companies to take a siesta or midday break for up to 2 hours? Japan, Spain, or China?
China.
The answer is in the question.
In which?
In which country is it common for companies to take a siesta? So there's an option of Japan and Spain.
Spain.
Correct.
well as
Siesta.
Yes.
China.
Because
Great.
in schools, of course, in China they have it. They have a compulsory break for kids.
Yeah.
In China, so
In China
that
they
was,
do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they have to have a nap.
Yes.
nap
They
in
have
the
to have a nap
afternoon.
break.
It is
Right.
compulsory for them to take midday.
Midday
But they are
break.
workaholics as well. So
Yes, they
they
Yeah,
shouldn't
they
have gone with
absolutely
the-
are. For the next question, which global corporation was one of the first to offer gender transition benefits in its healthcare plan? Apple, IBM, or Starbucks?
Apple, IBM, or Starbucks.
It's as easy as it gets.
I would go with
Something that you've been drinking.
Starbucks.
Fabulous.
Yeah, excellent.
Excellent.
That's a good guess.
What year was the term human resource first widely used in corporate America? Was it in the year 1960 or 1950s?
1960s. Or, 1960s. It was because in the 1920s it was the personal department.
Okay.
And then in the 1960s is when slowly and gradually they transitioned to the
Yes.
human resources department.
Amazing, amazing.
That's my
amazing.
core topic for me, of course.
Yes.
Amazing.
You had to know this.
Now, this is, of course, a cakewalk. Inacho.
So in HR terms, it has to be easy. What does the acronym ATS stand for? There's no options, by the way.
So this was something which we were struggling with
Okay.
in the beginning. It was applicant tracking system.
Right.
Yes, it
Right.
is. Yes, it
Yes,
is.
it
I
is.
got to give it to you.
Oh, you all were struggling with it in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, now we have something which with us
Yeah.
as an applicant tracking system.
Okay.
And there is something which we are moving on to. There's some technological changes which we are making to Algurs Group. So, of course,
Lovely.
that will be a full-fledged ATS we'll be having in place at that time.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Which tech company in its early years once had a no resume hiring policy, relying only on puzzles and problem solving tests?
Wow.
Yeah.
Again, a very
There's no options
known,
for this?
No.
known company.
And it's the one of,
What's the hint for this?
it starts with a G.
Is it Google?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, it is.
In its
Yes, it
very
is.
early
I mean,
years,
yes.
Okay.
In its
Google
early
used
years.
to Google used to actually have a no resume hiring policy. So they used to have different kinds of aptitude tests and different tests in which then they used to
Okay.
hire the applicants. Very, very early days.
So this one, which Middle Eastern country introduced a landmark labor reform in the year 2021, removing the requirement for employees to get employer permission to switch jobs? So which country in the Middle East?
It's UAE.
The big brother.
Okay, you mean they eliminated that completely from
Yes,
the...
they removed
Yes,
the
they
requirement.
that was Saudi
Saudi
Arabia.
Arabia.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it is
Fabulous.
Saudi Arabia.
Because in
Yes.
2021 UAE as
21.
well, they made a lot of
They
changes
even
to the
did it.
UAE
Yeah.
labor law. But of
Yes.
course, the requirement to obtain permission was removed back much, much earlier.
Yes. you're
Yes,
correct.
yes, correct,
Yeah.
correct. So that comes to the end of our trivia round one.
Thank God.
With a lot of
With a lot
help
of stress
from,
and palpitating.
I know.
So now we move on to our second leg of the podcast segment.
Sure.
Have there been any specific instances where Soundlines Group services have, effectively addressed ESOG's recruitment challenges, or, probably some complicated recruitments which have happened? And
Yes, I do remember. It's still fresh in my mind. So I was in Nepal for a recruitment trip. And at that time, I was exploring alternative agencies. So I used to only deal with two agencies, one of them being Soundlines. So, and I'm not a person who is a fan of, having a limited resources. You need to have multiple options today.
Sure.
So that's why I was looking out for other agencies. And I shortlisted two agencies from Nepal. I went there for a recruitment drive and I had a requirement of around 60 people of different categories, semi-skilled, unskilled workers. When I reached there for a 4-day trip, on the first day, there were only 5 candidates who turned up for the interview in the morning.
okay.
And we were like, okay, fine, this agency is failed. We have the backup of the second agency to go for. I called the second agency and they lifted their hands. They said, you know what, we couldn't arrange for the candidates. Your requirements are too difficult.
Okay.
I was in panic because I was with one of my managers, and we had arranged to stay for 4 days. We were supposed to return back after 4 days with candidates with us. Totally puzzled, worried of what's going to happen and how will I face my managers, because I was the one who shortlisted the new agencies and come here for the interviews. I at that time contacted Sanjay, who was there in Nepal. And Sanjay immediately was able to arrange within the next day itself, within 24 hours, in fact, he was able to arrange for a few candidates. And thanks to him, we managed to get a good number of candidates. Of course, the entire requirement was not filled, but the amount of efforts that he put in, and we managed to get at least 50% of the requirement within that day itself. Which was enough for me to save myself and face my bosses again. And yeah, of course, that established the next level of trust again on Soundlines.
That's really nice to hear. Actually, when these kind of critical situations come around, it's always a fight, because you're really struggling, and then you have your bosses under your throat.
My bosses, I was quite I was quite worried. How will I face them after I go back? But yeah, Soundlines saved the day there.
Yeah.
I'm glad we did.
Yeah.
So managing HR across a conglomerate with over 30 companies and counting, it can be complex for sure. But how does ESA, maintain cohesive HR policies across its diverse businesses?
Okay, so the policies that we make, it's not a one-person job. We have a team to do this. Now, I mentioned in the beginning that we have our operations in different regions. We have in UAE, Oman, Saudi, India as well now. We have a back office in India from where we are having around 250 plus employees.
Okay.
Now, when the policies are made, we make sure that they are suitable for these different regions. Of course, the labor laws in each country are kept in mind. Certain policies differ. But then what we do is, once the policy is created here, it's given to a policy review committee. Once there are debates, there are discussions which happen with the policy review committee, finally it goes to an approval to the board. That's when the board, if they see it fit, it has to, of course, fit to the culture of Algurs. It has to fit to the demographic regional requirements. That's wherein we pass those policies out. After passing the policies out, we educate the employees about these. So we have our policies are open. Any employee can have access to any of the policies. It's a very open culture that we have. So people, if during the time of the induction, they are given a brief introduction to these policies, and afterwards, of course, the employee manual is available, the website is available, wherein they can read any of the policies which they have any doubt on.
Okay.
That's how we maintain the policies, and they are regularly updated. We regularly have meetings. Sometimes we review policies, change policies based on employee requests as well.
Okay.
So I remember there were certain policies which Algurs had at that time in 2021. And it was surprising for me to know that these policies exist within UAE, because the labor law at that time was much more stricter. And Algurs as a group was much more lenient compared to that. They were offering over and above what the labor law mandated. Some of these policies have been incorporated in the labor law very recently of the UAE.
Oh, that's very interesting, because it's a very Algurs family itself is a very prominent and established Emirati family.
It is.
They're
It is. So
huge.
to give you an example, Algurs, the maternity benefits which Algurs offers, it's been offering 90 days of maternity leave to females for the last couple of years.
Oh.
So initially when the labor law mentioned it's 45 days, Algurs was offering 60 days. And then that was later on revised to 90 days.
90 days. Ooh.
So the labor law of UAE still says it's, I think it's 60 days, so it's what the labor law says.
Correct.
But we offer 90 days of maternity leave.
Oh, that's nice.
After that, also, if the female feels that, fine, they need some more rest, of course, they're open to discussions. We, under the labor law provisions, if that's possible, we do permit that.